The views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the policy or position of ONTV's management, staff, or board of directors.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to About Town. My name is Sarah Luchsinger, and I have two guests today, Misty Phillips and Pastor Kent Clark. How are you both doing?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Yes. And you guys are from Grace Centers of Hope. First things first, where did both of you guys grow up? I'll start with you.
Ladies first.
Well, I grew up north in Leland and Traverse City, so teeny tiny towns.
But beautiful.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful area. And you?
Well, I basically grew up in Warren. My dad pastored a church there in Warren, and we moved up here in 1950.
Gotcha.
So been in Michigan a while.
Yes. Okay, so you brought up your father. Were your parents really big superhero fans? Because your name is Kent Clark. And that reversed is Clark Kent, which for you Generation Zers out there who don't know this, that's Superman.
I'm just the opposite. No, my mother says that she didn't get my name from Superman.
Well,
no.
I guess it was just a wonderful coincidence.
Was Superman around in 1944?
You know what? I don't know. And I'm not even going to
go there.
Pretend I know, because my shop, Sarah's Bath Boutique, is 2 doors down from the comic shop, Primetime. So I'm not even going to do that because
they will fact check you.
Yeah, and I don't want to go through that whole process. Okay, so backing up a little ways, Grace Centers of Hope. I got to admit, I did not do a lot of research on you guys initially when I first met Misty. So just a little background, I donate some products every couple months, and Misty makes it extremely easy to donate. So thank you very much for coming and picking up stuff.
Oh, thank you.
But everyone I talked to about Grace Centers of Hope had only good things to say. And then Misty made it so easy to donate. I never really did a lot of research. That being said, all last week and the week before, when I got you guys on the calendar, I started going down the rabbit hole with you, or with the organization. And I would like to read the mission statement and the vision statement, if you don't mind.
Sure.
All right. Okay, so the mission statement is Grace Centers of Hope is a nonprofit Christian organization committed to positively changing the lives of the unwanted, addicted, and homeless through the gospel of Jesus Christ, personal accountability, life skills, education, and work-related programs. And your vision is through a loving Christian community, I'm sorry, I couldn't read my handwriting. All centered around Grace Gospel Fellowship Church. We provide hope, jobs, and stability for each of our residents for many years to come. And then I had a question, and I did not have to scroll down very far, and it was in the same font, and it answered it. You guys do not deny anyone, regardless of race, religion, sexual orientation, or other background. I was so impressed with what I read about your organization. I'm not particularly religious. My parents let me make that decision on my own when I was going through confirmation. I did everything I had to do, and I give them lots of credit for letting my sister and I, just make that decision for us. And I hope that this is taken as the compliment that I truly, truly mean it to be. I am so impressed with your organization. The fact that you guys look at the whole person. You're not just giving a fish for a day. You're teaching how to fish, and your programs are year long, and then you have follow up and accountability. So I would love to hear what you have to say about your organization after I read all about it and read about you, Pastor Clark. I would love to hear how did you get involved? How did you start this? Like, what is your vision for other than the vision statement? What is your vision of Grace Centers of Hope?
Well, I've been there for almost 40 years now at what was the old Pontiac Rescue Mission.
Right.
That's what we were. And when I was asked to be on the board, so I got on the board. We lost the CEO, and they asked me to fill in because I was a pastor and only work a couple times a week, pastors.
Right.
And so they asked me to fill in, and they never looked actually for another CEO, and I resigned from the board and became CEO of. And then we changed the name about 15 or more years ago to Grace Centers of Hope because of our philosophy. Actually, Grace Centers of Hope is the oldest, largest shelter in the state of Michigan. If you'd put all of them together here in Oakland County, they wouldn't do what we do there at Grace Centers. And what makes us unique is, first of all, that we are Christian-based, faith-based. We receive no government funding, none whatsoever. Our budget is right at $7 million a year. We live in the greatest country in the world, the most giving people in the entire world, and all of those dollars come from people who care about other people. When I went to Pontiac Rescue Mission, we were basically, this sounds a little rough, but basically we were a feeding trough for homeless people. Same people in, same people out, feed them, clothe them, shelter them. They'd draw a welfare check, disappear, buy their drugs, and be back. And mainly at that time, it was all men that came to Grace Centers. And then women and children started coming. My wife joined me there as our women's director. And
I give you guys a lot of credit. My husband and I are both attorneys. If we worked at the same firm, I don't know what would have happened. It would not have been good. No, because we practice different areas of law. So that's the first reason why we wouldn't have been in the same firm. But also, attorneys can get a little, testy.
yeah,
So your wife is the director of the women's program,
yes.
and you're the
Dr.
CEO.
Pam Clark. She's been there 30 years. Will be this month, right?
Yeah.
30 years. She's done a great job. We have a wonderful women and children's program there, full-time daycare to care for the kids.
That was the other thing. I am going to interrupt you there for a second. That was one of the. So my sister just had her second kid. She has 2 under 2 right now. She's an ER doctor. Try following that up as the younger sister. Just saying. I love my sister very much, and her kids are objectively the cutest children in the world. It was, and her husband, I mean, during the pandemic, her husband was working from home, but Andrew still had to go to the hospital. It was very, very difficult for them to find childcare. They ended up getting they live out close to DC, so they ended up getting an au pair, but it was a process, and, both working full time, jumping through hoops, trying to get, childcare. That's a very big issue. So when I saw that you guys provide that for the families, and because most of your residents, I think it was like 90%, have some sort of addiction issue. You work with the courts, you try to keep the families together, and then you provide daycare. I think that's what really separates you from a lot of other organizations.
Well, I believe that too, Sarah. You take a mother or a father who come to Grace Centers, they've been using drugs. Maybe their children have been taken away by the courts because they haven't been good parents. What we do is, an Oakland County court judicial system has been wonderful in working with us to get the kids back with mom. So the kids get back with mom or dad. We have a daycare there that shows them a lot of love, family-like atmosphere, really. And kids bounce back so fast. Really, what's happening in our world today is atrocious to children, the trafficking and everything that goes on right here in our own little county, really. So a loving mom and dad and having those children as moms going and dads are going through our program, getting their life back, becoming productive citizens themselves, those children are right there within 60 feet of where mom is in the life skills program getting her life back. So she has them with her while she's getting her life back. And that's a big thing at Grace Centers. Like I said, years ago when I went to Pontiac Rescue Mission, we were feeding and clothing homeless people. To me, if that's all you're doing, that's not good charity. I want to see people get their life back and become productive citizens. So, yes, you're right. Most of our people have been on drugs and or alcohol and have totally lost their bearing in life. And to see them come around and get their life back and go through our program. And then we have an aftercare program where after you've gone through the 1-year program, you go to aftercare, live there 2 years in aftercare where you are held accountable and responsible for your life choices and see you get off of the drugs, what I call the demons that have destroyed your life and your family life and your children's life, to see them get off and begin to live the American dream. We give them the opportunity to become homeowners. Our slogan is kind of from homelessness to homeownership. We have over 54 now. 54 houses there in Pontiac that we've seen beautifully restored. Most of them were built in early 1900s and beautiful homes. We got them at the Oakland County auction. I say sometimes we paid $10 for them at the auction. This was a few years ago.
Yes.
And after we got them, I thought as we started to fix them up, maybe we paid too much for them. I don't know. I mean, they were in bad repair is what I'm saying. Yeah. But to see the families come together, get their life back, and are just productive people.
And we'll get into the programs, what it looks like in a minute. I am going to switch over to Misty for a second. How did you get involved with Grace Centers of Hope? Because you're the director of donor outreach.
Yes. Yeah. Well, actually, I started there in human resources.
Okay.
So I was just at a point, I was teaching college. The college I was teaching at was closing down their campus near us. And so I had just an opportunity to sort of sit back and say, what do I want to do? And I knew I wanted to work in nonprofit, and I preferably in a Christian organization. So I saw a posting that Grace Centers was looking for human resources, and I have a master's in human resources. So I applied for it, and
there you go.
I would say it was quick, but someone was on vacation, and so I didn't hear back from them.
Hint.
But actually, when I came in, I met with Pastor, and I knew right away, like, this is a place that I wanted to work. So that was 7 years ago, actually, beginning of 2014.
Well, that's great. I remember, there's always horror stories about waiting so long to find out you have a job. Once I waited 9 months. And then once my first job out of law school, when I just found out I had passed the bar exam, which is like 4 months after you graduate and you take the exam, then you got to wait 4 months. My then boss interviewed me. This is 2012. So it was, legal market was oversaturated. Jobs were few and far between. So, I go, I interview. He's like, all right, well, you did great, but I have a lot of other interviewees. And if I don't get back to you by Friday, you don't have the job. I'm not going to call you and let you know that you didn't get the job. Just, if you don't hear from me, you didn't get it. Okay. Friday came and went. I didn't hear anything. That Sunday night, he calls. He's like, I'm in Hawaii. You got the job. Go in on Monday morning and let the guy that you're replacing know that he was leaving. He was leaving like on good terms. He was, but I had to walk up and be like, so I'm the new hire. I don't know if you got an email or anything from Howard yet, but he's in Hawaii. Anyway, it worked out. And then the accountant came in. She's like, so how much did he say he was going to pay you? I was like,
yeah, that's an opportunity for you right there. Set your own salary.
X amount and a lot of benefits. That's how much. No, I was honest. Probably shouldn't have been now that I think about it, but neither here nor there. So your boss was on vacation when you were getting hired.
Yeah, it was only a matter of a week or so until I heard. But like I said, I knew right away. I liked the transparency of the organization. I loved the mission.
Oh, and that is another thing I saw on like charity.com. It's a website that
Charity Navigator.
Yes. 100% in transparency and accounting or something like that. But transparency. I don't think a lot of other organizations have a ranking of 100% and 4 stars. And
Very true.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. So
and that's important to us and important to our donors to see that, to know. I think the American people are impressed with that this is not forced giving, that they are supporting a charitable organization that doesn't receive government funding, that we're dependent on people out there, people helping people. I often say this, a cold check from Washington is not what a drug addict needs. It really needs a person to come alongside and to be of help to them. And that's what Grace Centers is. There's a real family, loving, caring atmosphere there.
Well, as I donate some products. We'll get in. How many residents do you say you would have on average a year?
Kind of like the children, counting children, women,
counting
children, men,
women, and men, all together.
300 or 400.
We can do well. I have the actual figures from last year. If you want to.
Okay.
Well, let's be even more specific.
Well, I can tell you that last year we had 42,351 nights of stay.
That's a lot of nights.
And we served 127,053 meals.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of meals.
Because one person gets how many meals a day? There, three. I don't know. Sometimes lunch you're on your own. So 3 times 365. I'm not a math person. I'm not even going to try to calculate it in my head. And that's just one person. That's a lot of meals.
It's a lot of meals.
That's a lot of meals, and that's a lot of nights.
Yep.
That's pretty amazing. And so now I'm like, oh man, now I need to give you more lip balm when you come. But as you know, as a donor, I appreciate the transparency and the little touches that you guys do. And they're not little. I mean, they're big. But for instance, Misty sent me a packet of letters that were written in response to, just body scrub. It's not, I didn't even give it a second thought when I was putting the box together and giving it away. And I am not ashamed to say I had to put I'll be back in 15 minutes on my shop door and go and have a moment in the back workroom, because as I was reading those, it's very powerful. And, you got me for life now. But that was very amazing to read those letters. So thank you for that. You got a good donor outreach director. Okay, so you've got some events coming up. You've got 2 in April.
We have our fashion show coming up next week, next Thursday, 7 p.m. It is virtual, but I went this morning and looked at the majority of our auction items, and they are awesome. You would definitely want to sign up. It's free to register, and you'll be sent a link via text to start looking at those auction items and start bidding.
I actually
definitely want to be a part of that.
On my to-do list today, that was actually something I needed to sign up for.
You donated to that, so you'll want to check out your own donation too.
Right, I might, help up that the silent auction. Well, is it a silent auction?
It is.
Okay. And then the fashion show part of that.
Yep. So there will be a program running on the 22nd. Starts at 7 p.m.
Okay.
So normally that is in person. Obviously, we've had to
Yeah.
change it up a bit this year. But
Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like before? What when we get back to the new normal, what it's gonna look like and
Yeah,
look
no,
like in the past?
it's an awesome event. I don't want to.
No,
Take-
you
Oh,
go right ahead. You're
hey.
doing a great job.
You both can like jump in here.
Well, it really is one of my favorite events because it's a lovely afternoon. It's primarily women who attend the fashion show, but we have a mix of professional models along with our women that are in the program, walking the runway, showcasing clothing. It's a great luncheon, great time to just mix and mingle with other women, and then you can actually view the auction items there in person.
Gotcha.
So we'll be back. I mean, don't you think next year we'll be back in person?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I've gotten the vaccine. Have you guys gotten vaccinated yet? Or
I'm still on the wait list, but
yes, you have to be.
Yeah.
Really about it. So that hopefully next year we'll be back to that format.
I think so.
Where do you get the clothing from?
It's from Somerset.
Okay. Yeah, but I know Somerset.
We have that. When we get back to before.
Oh, it's at the Royal Park.
Gotcha.
Royal Park.
It's a wonderful event.
Yes.
Absolutely wonderful.
It is.
Royal Park.
And the Royal Park's just a beautiful, beautiful. I would
it's
imagine.
a
Are you in the
gorgeous
ballroom
venue.
there, like with the?
Yep.
I did look there for the wedding. We ended up
Oh,
going somewhere
yeah.
else, but it was beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, and then what's the other one in April? Other event, excuse me.
I think. Are you thinking of our walk in August?
Yes, and
I'm sorry, not the walk in August. The golf outing in August.
You got the
Golf
golf.
outing.
You know what? Why don't you tell me all the events that are going on, and I'm going to stop like trying to pull it from my brain.
Let me look at the exact dates so I make sure we're talking about the same thing. So we do have our golf outing on August 9th. Pastor, you like to actually golf in that. So is there anything you want to tell people?
It's a wonderful event. Of course, these events are so important to us. Having to raise that $7 million, we live according to our budget. We don't spend money we don't have. And these events are not only a great time, but you learn more about Grace Centers of Hope. And I think you become very happy that you've become a part of us, of our family. The golf outing is August 9th, and it's a shotgun start. Registration, it's at Oakland University.
Yep.
We have both courses, right?
We do. Yeah, we take over both.
And usually they are filled. So if
Fantastic.
you're a golfer, you would certainly enjoy being at our golf outing.
Well, I will put all that information when I post this onto the Facebook page. I'll get all this information as well and how to sign up for it. My grandparents were big golfers. My nanny, my grandmother, we called her nanny, and grandpa were members of Oakland Hills, and they won tournaments and all that. Unfortunately, the two eldest grandchildren, myself and my sister, were not we did not get the golfing gene. Oh, it was so bad. We went and would take classes for summers. It was very embarrassing. I could not swing a golf club to save my life. And this is after many years of taking classes. I would try, but if it does get filled up, I'll just be somebody wearing plaid pants and a hat and having a beer on the sidelines, and I'll be watching.
I think that's a fun part about the golf outing is it doesn't have to be competitive.
Oh.
Misty, it doesn't have to be. You can go out and have fun and just know you're supporting our men's program.
Gotcha. And then, now I remember. Well, I found it in my notes. So Wjr Takeover.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's next week, next Tuesday.
And what's that entail?
Well, mainly, I do these spots. We have one real early in the morning.
6:30.
Yeah.
I'll be there answering the phones at 6:30 in the morning if anyone wants to call and donate.
Yeah. 6:30, 9:30.
Usually around
12:30.
4.
Yeah.
We have one.
And
So-
one in the afternoon.
So it's like a telethon. People can call in and make donations.
Yes, it's kind of like that. They can call in and support Grace Centers of Hope. And it
Gotcha.
usually turns out great.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, We'll also put that up on the Facebook page as well. Okay, so you got the fashion show, the golf classic, WJR Takeover, and the walkathon September 25th at the Detroit Zoo. Mm-hmm. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the great thing about that is it is outdoors, so it's one of those events that we feel confident it can happen this year. Now, that one we are really looking for sponsors if anyone would like to sponsor on the walk.
Yeah.
What are the different
Sponsorship?
Yeah, sponsorship.
Well, there's the gold medal sponsorship is $10,000. The silver is $5,000. The bronze is $3,000. Champion is $1,000, and then there's a supporting sponsor is $500.
Gotcha. All right. So if anybody is looking to sponsor, we've got some wonderful options there. Okay. And then your meal ticket campaign.
Well, we just had our Easter meal ticket campaign, but I always think meal tickets are important all year round. It's a great thing. I see a lot of companies getting involved in that. We actually have physical meal tickets where you can, write your name and hang it. It's a great way to, if you were doing it, say, as a company or a school group, to really challenge each other, get motivated. Each of our meals costs $2.05, so we sell the tickets for $2.05. And it's a wonderful way to support our residents in providing those meals for them.
Gotcha. So if you wanted to donate to buy meal tickets, where would you go to do that?
Well, you can actually do it right online through our website, or if you want to set up something like at a workplace, you can contact me directly and I'll provide the signage and the actual meal tickets themselves.
Okay, fantastic. That's nice. That's a nice idea, like having the actual meal tickets, so you know that you have a receipt there.
Yeah, I think that's why it's kind of fun sometimes for companies to do.
Yeah.
The departments challenge each other, and you can kind of see that support in person.
Okay.
The amount of food donated is just awesome, too. People donating food to Grace Centers. We serve that 120,000 meals plus, for less than, 5 cents a piece, a meal. I mean, with the amount of food that's donated.
Now, do you, if Sarah's Bath Boutique wanted to do a food drive for you, is that something that you would be interested in?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, well, we'll talk later.
Yeah. I will provide a collection box for you. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I remember we used to have canned food drives. And would just receive a tremendous amount. Children in high school or junior high would have a canned food drive. We welcome those things. Seeing people helping people, getting involved in a real way. Of course, we appreciate folks who write the checks, but folks who come and work on our houses and volunteer and come alongside and getting their hands dirty, and helping our kids in our learning center. Those are such important things to do for people to get involved.
Yeah, and I don't. Do you know the actress Emma Thompson? Love Actually. She probably in her mid-50s, blonde hair. Anyway, British. She quietly, and I just found this out. I'm sure a lot of people know this, but I just found this out. She quietly adopted a child soldier when he was a little boy from Africa, and he grew up to become a international human rights attorney. And so, whenever I see programs like this where you are, focusing on the kids too, not just the parents and, getting the kids back to the parents, but also the kids, you're helping save that resource, save that, the potential there. Because I feel like an ounce of compassion and an ounce of direction in a child goes such a far way. Because we don't know what that Emma Thompson's adopted son.
You never know.
We don't know what would have happened, but now he's and I know international human rights is a really, really difficult area of law to get into. I tried. I don't speak another language, so that I was already out of the gate. So, but it's so, kids are, like you were saying, they bounce back so quickly, and they have so much potential, and they really, like, they can be a cowboy astronaut if they want to be in their head when they're a kid, and that might actually end up becoming a physics degree or this, that, or the third. So I do, and it helps us with our retirement and the Social Security. I mean, it's nice to have some people with actual degrees, but hey, I'm not going to get Social Security until I'm 75. So, but that joking aside, I find that focusing on the kids and trying to get them into a family situation or a loving, supported, safe situation goes such a long way, just in society in general.
When I first went to Pontiac Rescue Mission, the children that we were getting, most of them had lived in the back seat of a car in a vacant house. Mm-hmm. They just had very little stability and the love and the attention that they desperately needed. And we started our what we called our computer classes for these kids. And I announced that I would, for every A or B that they got on their report cards, mm-hmm. that was back during the A and B. I don't know whether they still do A and B or not.
Oh, I still had A and B, C and D. Anyway.
Well, I would give them 50 cents. The last time that we had report card Sunday, I think Miss Pam and I gave $850. So we soon put that into the budget, report card Sunday.
If I give my report cards to you, can I get the 50 cents? I can go print off my transcripts. It will be great.
Our kids are such great responders to the love and attention that they get mm-hmm. at Grace Centers of Hope.
Yeah.
And respond in a real positive way, living with mom or dad, mm-hmm. or mom and dad, and becoming a part of that community. I think that's just so very important. I'm nearly 77. You knew that, right? Mm-hmm. Years old. I've been having this burning desire to start a school for our kids, where they can get number one attention. They're not throwaway kids. Our mm-hmm. people are not throwaway. They're very intelligent. Homeless people are not just people we throw away. Mm-hmm. They're gifted and talented, and once that life is restored to some normality, they respond in a wonderful, wonderful way. People often say, Pastor, why on earth would you be in Pontiac, Michigan, in a downtown, inner-city, drug-infested place, in a church that? We own Clutch Cargo. You remember? I don't know whether you remember the old Clutch. That's good if you don't remember.
No, I think I went once my late teens, because it was an 18 and up.
Yes.
But anyway, it wasn't my scene. Go ahead.
Well, it was an old congregational church building, beautiful building right downtown mm-hmm. there. And we obtained, that's our place of worship, the mission's place of worship there. And many of those people attended that years and years ago. We're seeing Pontiac restored. It's it's the county seat of Oakland County, first, second, third wealthiest county in the United States, mm-hmm. Oakland County. To see Pontiac come back, I think is just an awesome thing, and I think we're having a part in that.
And there are some gorgeous homes that have been run down, but beautiful, beautiful architecture. So
yes.
It is really worth saving and rehabbing those homes and the lives that are around there too.
And Clutch Cargo was a beautiful old congregational church building that we restored to what it looked like 100 years ago. So it's inside and outside. It's just an awesome structure there in downtown Pontiac.
Well, they don't build it like they used to
No, they don't.
anymore. So I'll have to go take a look at
Yeah,
those.
we'd love for you to come by and see it.
So, I grew up in Birmingham, and I remember having to go to one of the Pontiac high schools to take the SATs. And I mean, this is 20 years ago. And I have driven, around there, and I've had to go down there since, and it has really been changing. And I've noticed that. Probably not as fast as most of us would like to see it, but it is changing. And now that I know your organization is down there, and the homes are all the homes that people go to after the 1 year in your facilities, they go to a home. And are those all located in Pontiac?
They're all in Pontiac, right in what I would call a community, a cluster. We don't have them spread out all over the city. There's really a sense of community. That's important for the restoration, where they hold one another accountable to, and they're living there where they can watch and be careful with one another in the drug situation.
Well, and you don't kick people out. So your residents get drug tested once they're in the after program.
Every week.
Yeah, and if they fail a drug test, you don't kick them out. They go back into your facility for 30 days?
That's
a
right.
month, yeah.
30 days.
Yeah. And that was another thing that's aside, because there's always financial strains, and if you can save X amount of lives and have people trying really hard, and I don't want to say easy, that's not the right word, but it's the only one that's coming to mind right now. It's easy to be like, okay, look, you didn't follow the program, you're not doing this right, go find find somewhere else to get your help, because all of these people have been working really hard, and you seem to have just fallen off the wagon again.
And I think one thing for us all to remember is that relapse is a part of all of our life. I know I've been trying to lose weight. I think I relapsed over the weekend with regard to eating.
Yeah.
So it's a battle.
It is a battle.
I'm losing the battle right now.
Oh, my husband Brad brought Doritos home the other day. I love Doritos. I can't eat Doritos. If I even look at a bag of Doritos, I gain at least 2 pounds around my hips. My husband's 6'1" and very thin. We weigh the same, only I'm 5'5" and he's 6'2", really. But so yes, thanks, Brad, honey. But no, yes, that's a funnier analogy. We all try to lose weight at some point in our life and relapse. But yeah, I've had friends who have suffered with addiction and family members. So it touches everyone, but it's usually not discussed in polite company. But it does have a very far-reaching hold on probably almost everybody. I'll go out on a limb and say pretty much everybody probably has somebody that they know who is addicted or is a recovering addict, and they may not know that. But I do
You're
think
right.
that a lot of people do. So you go through, if I were to come to Grace Centers of Hope and want to change my life, and I'd walk through your doors, I know this is going to be like an elevator speech, but what are the programs that I would go through, and what's the hope for the end result?
Well, most of our people have come to Grace Centers of Hope after trying several rehab programs, 15, 16. And, sometimes I have said we do our work a yard from hell. These drugs are the most powerful things I've ever seen in my life, where a mother will sell her children, leave her children, a father desert his family. The most horrendous things happen in addiction. It's a powerful, powerful demon. Lives ruined and destroyed. So coming to Grace Centers, we start with our life skill program. We're just learning for instance, if you're a mother, how to be a good mother, how to take care of your babies. I can tell horrendous stories of moms who've come to Grace Centers. I can remember now. I'm thinking about a time I saw a mother in our downstairs program who had been there with a infant. She had just given birth maybe a couple of weeks before, but she had a bottle and she was forcing clabbered milk down that child's throat. She had no idea how to take care of that baby. I think sometimes we take family for granted. We think everybody has this nice, quiet little, and that children have been raised to be good mothers. That's not necessarily the case. Or dads to be great dads. So I think family is very, very important, and stressing the idea of family. But when they come in there, they'll learn all kinds of things. I remember in our early days, as far as financial accountability, having a savings account or a checking account. Sometimes they don't even know how to write a check. They've never written a check. There are some of our ladies that never held a job till they got to Grace Centers of Hope and working in our thrift stores.
And where are those thrift stores located?
Warren, Oak Park, Sterling Heights, and Waterford.
And what are they called?
Grace Centers of Hope thrift stores.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And those are of tremendous help to us. And we appreciate all those that donate to our thrift stores. I mean, they bring in 45% or close to that of our budget dollars. So very, very important. Great place to shop, too.
Oh, I do like a good thrift store. I do. Most of the stuff in my shop is from the thrift store that I've rehabbed. And that's a learning process. That's an exponentially increased learning curve there. But okay, so I come in, I go to I learn how to, through the life skills program, I learn financial accountability, jobs, I get job training.
There's job training. There's our educational center there. I don't know how many people got their GED this past year. Do you have that
I think
stat?
I might have that. We had 7 GED graduates last year.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I really do think that education helps far more than we give it credit for. So that's great.
And many of our folks go on to college, get their degree. I think we've kind of, two things I think have happened in our country. First, we've taught people to learn on government taking care of them, handouts rather than a hand up. That's one thing. And then we've looked at people as throwaway people or not in my backyard. I've had so many comments about, why don't you go to Birmingham? Why don't you go to, why don't you go here and set up a homeless shelter there from folks in Pontiac? This was years ago. But we're seeing some great things happen with people who lost their lives in addiction, getting their life back. What I was going to say is when you come into Grace Centers, the first 3 months are kind of tough.
Well, I imagine so.
Yeah, kind of tough because you're off the drug.
Well, it's a complete paradigm shift, too, I'm sure, for a lot of people.
It really is.
And it's sometimes hard to the first I was a student attorney at the public defender's office in Washtenaw the summer after my first year of law school. And I was able to be the attorney with my supervising attorney for folks who were charged with misdemeanors up to 1 year in jail or punishable for up to 1 year in jail. That was the first, like I said before, I grew up in Birmingham, not a lot of diversity. Yeah, it's a stereotype for a reason there. And you learn real quick, you can't judge. And that in law school, I mean, you're already going through a lot of stuff when you're in higher education. But learning that you can't judge. And then when I because there's something always going on. And this was actually I had a really great conversation with former police chief and village council pro tem Jerry Narsh about the heroin epidemic. And this was really when it was starting to come out that it's coming to urban areas and wealthy areas. And there are not enough beds in rehab facilities to account and to meaningfully help all these new addicts. And then the opioid crisis was hitting the fan as well at that point. So I learned back in 2009, 10, that this was an issue. And then I just saw it just exponentially grow and just get out of control until I think it was 2014 or 15 when the government started to really have to crack down on it. And now I guess some of these pharmaceutical companies have like $2 billion in they have to pay to all of these victims.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, some of it's not the victim itself, it's the families because the victim's no longer around. So you learn you can't judge. Everybody's got something else going on. And then when I was a plaintiff attorney for a medical malpractice, I did OB-GYN med mal. And you have women who have gone through the worst thing that they can possibly have gone through, either losing a baby, having an ectopic pregnancy, losing the ability to have another child, or having a hysterectomy that didn't, nick your bowel or ureter. So all of these things are happening to these people, and they do things, and sometimes they weren't living the best or the most ideal life before this stuff happens to them, and then this thing happens and it hits you like a freight train, and the judicial system's not going to help you as much as everybody has been led to believe because of movies and stuff or TV shows. And then what's after that? They get a prescription, and then it goes downhill, and by the time I see them, they've been dealing with something for years.
Yeah.
And so nobody's a throwaway. And rehabilitation is possible, but everyone else has to take a step back and be like, look, you know what? We can't judge because we all have something. And so that's what I liked about the approach you were taking is it's the whole person, and it's, you're taking the judginess away, but you're replacing it with accountability. And it's nuanced, but it's very important. That nuance is very important. So I like how, you're in the program for a year at your facility, and then you go to the after program and you're accountable. And so what you have to have a savings account with over $1,000 in it, right?
Yeah, you have to have enough money to get out of the center and rent your place over in Little Grace Village.
Gotcha. And how much is it a month, or is it
around
depend?
$450?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's cheaper than my apartment in college. That's awesome. So you do that, and that's 2 years?
For 2 years. And then you have opportunity to purchase your own house through us, through
Gotcha.
Grace Centers of Hope. I think we have about, 12 homeowners. Some of them have already paid their house off. I mean, they live in our community. Mm-hmm. Much of our staff are employed by us, have gone through our program and graduated from the program and are giving back in that way. One of the conflicts at the Grace Centers, and it's I often say this: I know you're praying for the addict, but pray for the enabler. Mom and dad can be such an enabler. They love their kid. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of one young man that told me he used to tell his mother, if you don't give me $50 right now to go get my drug, I'm going to rob a bank. Or I'm going to go to Lowe's or one of those companies, and I'm going to steal what I can steal. I'm going to get it somewhere. If you don't want me to go to jail, and of course, mom folds.
Yep, because jail's that's not where you want your son to be.
Yeah.
Yep, that's actually. So I'm really glad you brought that up because the enabler. You pray for the enabler. How many I'm sure you see a lot of relapses and people coming back. How many times, I'm not going to hold you to these numbers, just in your experience, would it be, the person goes back to either a spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, or a family where it's the same situation and the enabling has happened and you see them again at your
They go
doorstep?
right back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have people, there are a lot of relapses. There are a lot. But what gives us the courage to overcome those is to see people really, truly, honestly getting their life back. Like I had lunch today with 5 of our guys who are now married and have their own families and are living there in Grace Village. I had lunch with them today. They're just outstanding young men and parents and dad, and are doing so well. Yes, there is relapse and there's going to be relapse, but having stability there, having a place there that that's going to be understanding, but are going to hold you accountable for your life choices, and is going to love you and not throw you away. That's so important.
So I did reach out to Misty beforehand, and she gave me a couple of heads up. So she didn't tell me the answers to any of these questions, but my interest was really piqued when she's like, ask about the marriages pastor has done between residents. So apparently that must have been something that has happened where people meet each other who are recovering and fall in love and get married.
I don't have a number to tell you how many, but a whole lot of folks met at Grace Centers of Hope, fell in love, got off drugs. And I was thinking about those 5 guys I was sitting at the table have children now. They met at Grace Centers, married their wife there, and she's working with Ms. Clark at the Women's Center. And those kids, I see them every Sunday at church. I was thinking about, while we were talking a few moments ago, about a little girl that came up to me Sunday. She's 8 years old, and she said, Pastor, I want to sing pretty soon at church. I want to sing a solo. So I've asked my mom, and she said to ask you. I said, well, make sure that happens. She's just a beautiful kid. You take, and I know they won't mind. I'm going to mention their names. I know they won't mind me telling this story.
Keep it at first names if that's okay with
Yes.
you. Yeah.
Sarah and Ryan. Sarah came from New Mexico, heard about Grace Centers of Hope. She had been using and just totally destroying her life, and wrote and said she wanted to come. And some people, I announced that at church. There was a young lady in New Mexico. There was a couple who was attending church, got online, bought her a ticket, flew her here. She met Ryan, who had lived here locally and come to Grace Centers, and they're married and have their first baby, and just bought their first house there in the village. They own their first house, got a mortgage, not with us, but with the bank. That's how far those 2 kids have come. It's amazing to see the couples whose lives are restored and they have a good marriage.
Well, I imagine, when you're going through recovery from an addiction, having somebody who knows what you're going through is important. Because there's some things that you go through when you recover from addiction that are unique to that condition.
It really is.
So medical, emotional, I assume that there's a deeper connection there.
There's no one that knows an addict like another addict.
And knows not to be an enabler, how not to be an enabler.
Very true.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And knows if you're, BSing them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And, and I don't mean this in an ugly way or to be down on anyone, but the addict is the best con in the world. They really are. They've learned to con their way during their addiction. out there in the world. And you just, you have to watch what you believe.
Well, and again, an addict knows an addict.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've learned a lot about Grace Centers of Hope. Now it's time to learn a little bit more about you guys. So we do this, well, I do this. It's my show, so I can do whatever I want. No, I'm kidding. To a certain degree. I ask you 3 random questions, and as a thank you for participating, you can ask me 1 random question.
Oh.
Let me go grab my deck. I forgot to turn off my phone. You guys were nice enough to turn off your phones beforehand, and I did not turn off mine. All right.
These
What
really
are we going to
random.
do?
So I'm going to ask you 3 questions. I'll start off with 2, and then you guys can ask me 1.
Okay.
And that will be mine.
Okay.
So, first question. What was one thing that made you smile last week? And we'll start with you, Pastor.
I spent the week with my wife down in Myrtle Beach. I was continuously smiling, resting.
Yes. Well, it was nice and warm. It's gotten warm then cold. Michigan can't make up its mind.
It was warmer up here last week than it was at Myrtle Beach.
Oh, it was. I mean, it was close to 80, I think, one day.
But it also snowed last week. So
It's a variety.
I remember the cartoon Rugrats. Did you guys
I
ever?
remember it.
Yeah. And they had one, like in the beginning, it showed like sunny, then an autumn day, and then winter day, etc. And then the dad goes, "Wow, it's been a really crazy week we've had this week." And I'm like, "That is Michigan in a nutshell, right there."
Completely.
So, Misty, what was the one thing that made you smile last week?
My daughter finished her exams on Friday and officially graduated.
High
from
school?
Lake Orion High School.
Congratulations!
Yeah.
It's April.
She graduated early.
They let them do that. Oh man, I grew up
It's
in
an
the wrong time.
unusual. It's an unusual year.
Got,
So,
well, that's
yeah.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome. It's a big deal.
It is.
All right. Question number 2. What movie, book, or play influenced you the most? We'll start with you, Pastor.
What movie or book?
And I know the Bible.
That was going to be my
Yeah,
answer.
I know. Besides the Bible.
Pilgrim's Progress. You've ever heard of it?
I have not.
It is it's a very famous book that was written. It's an allegory about a man and his struggles in life from a Christian perspective. But Pilgrim's Progress.
Okay. All right. And same for you. Not the Bible. We're just going to assume that the Bible, and then the second most influential.
I don't know. That's going to be really tough to say. Come back to me on that one.
Or a movie.
Or a movie or play.
I'm going to think about that for a minute.
Okay. And before I do the last one, I'll let you ask me the one
okay.
question.
Do you have a fear that you think is irrational?
Yes. I forgot I put that one in there. Usually the ones that I don't want to answer myself, I put in a specific place in the deck. Yes, I do. I know this is kind of odd because I live on Lake Orion, but big bodies of water make me nervous. I know how to swim. I scuba dive. All of that. But for some reason, I think it's because when I was a kid, I was obsessed with the Loch Ness Monster. And, oh my God, my husband's going to be mad at me. He's a big car guy, boat guy. But the boat that broke, I think the sound barrier was done on Loch Ness. And when it turned around, when the guy turned the boat around, he hit a wave, flipped, and died. but the wave was it was kind of oddly shaped, like almost how you would imagine Nessie to look. So ever since I'm like, okay, well, now big bodies of water. Nope. So, and then it's deep, and if you can't see the bottom, like what is under there? I mean, we live on Lake Orion, and there's supposedly a dragon there. So
There is a dragon.
actually,
Really?
I think it was like a bunch of kids like 100 years ago who like sunk a boat and it looked like a dragon. But all right, so that's my irrational fear. What's your movie or play or
Oh
book?
gosh, you're holding me to that. I really don't know. I'm having a tough time thinking of something.
Oh, think
And I'm
back
such
to
a
like
big reader,
language
too.
arts in high school. Come on, you got The Great Gatsby, you got Pride and Prejudice, Catcher in the Rye. Come on. All right, I'll ask you the third one, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
Because I understand how the brain works.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't understand that, but sometimes you think of it when you're thinking of something else. Okay. What was your best Halloween costume as a kid and as an adult?
Wow. There's always something scary. You know,
Yeah, well,
I mean,
yes.
really scary.
Really scary?
Just a monster.
Was it a dragon?
Yeah.
A dragon on the lake?
Yeah, a dragon on the lake,
It wasn't a
perhaps?
dragon on the lake. It's just, those scary faces of,
Oh, the masks that kind of smell like
Yeah.
weird because they're plastic?
yeah.
Yes. I could never wear those because I just didn't like the fumes that came off of them. But all right. And how about you?
Well, one that I remember clearly was a princess,
Mm-hmm.
and my brother was a prince, and my mom had made the costume.
Nice.
So I loved that one, and she still has pictures of it.
Nice. And as an adult?
Well, I would say, this past year I went as, someone from the 80s. That's an easy go-to
Oh, yeah.
because my closet is full, and I still have my crimper from 9th grade.
Oh, wow.
That is amazing. When I was in high school, crimping came back, middle school. Because Britney Spears, Christina
Yeah.
Aguilera were all doing the crimping with their. Ooh, I'm glad that trend has gone because my hair would have been even more damaged than it is.
Uh-huh.
Usually, Pastor, I'm bleach blonde. This is all new
Oh.
with like a faux hawk. It's a little bit longer than a faux hawk, but yeah, I'm growing it out now. But so usually it's already very damaged, and if we were still crimping our hair, it would just be it would be gone. My husband's bald. I would have looked like him. But okay, so book, movie, or play.
Oh,
Okay, let's just do this. Favorite movie.
Well, this is going to sound really lame, but it's Clueless. If you would like me to recite every line, I could do that, but that's going to take an hour and a half.
We got time. We got time. No, I actually, you know what? I've seen Clueless, within the last 10 years for the second time, and I have a much bigger appreciation for that movie as I've gotten older. Mm-hmm. I think it's actually quite a good movie. There's a lot of depth there that it doesn't get the credit it deserves for.
Right.
Yes. So that's
I
pretty
am
influential.
deeper than that, I promise.
Well,
So you
like
have
I
your-
just said, it's deep
you have
movie.
your 9th grade hair curler?
It's a crimper.
I bet neither of you remember the orange cans. My wife used to use when we were dating. I remember she had these curlers, but she would use an empty.
Oh, like a
can.
soda can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember when the girls did that?
I've seen pictures of
1945.
Yeah.
No, now you can get the Velcro ones, the Velcro curlers.
Yes.
Yes. But that always, I just burnt. I don't burn my hair often when I'm blow drying it, but I was using those curlers and one
Burn
came
it?
out and it like took out a chunk. I was like, oh,
Oh, no.
I'm glad it's longer now.
Yeah.
My hair, I should say, because that would have been terrible if like when I had my flip, it would have just been like missing like a chunk in the wave. So, okay. So anything else? I know there's probably another, 2 to 5 hours worth of stuff you would like to talk about Grace Centers of Hope. But anything else that you want to put out there right now? Because you were quoted saying in an article in December 2020, it's the best kept secret. Yes. So let's not make it a secret.
That I would wholeheartedly agree. And I was just going to answer in this way. I would invite those who are listening to us today to come and see for yourself. Mm-hmm. If you're looking for a place where you can volunteer, where you can help people and give back, Grace Centers is that place. A non-government funded program that's truly seeing people get their life back. Mm-hmm. And our volunteers, we couldn't do it without our volunteers. Hundreds of volunteers come to Grace Centers of Hope. And I think the proof is in the pudding. Come and see. Mm-hmm. See if this is real. And see if it's a real place. I think it is the best kept secret in Oakland County, maybe in the United States. I don't mean this in a haughty or bragging way, but I don't know of another. I don't know of another Grace Centers of Hope that does what we see being done there, with people getting their life back and building community and family.
Are you affiliated with any other groups or organizations nationwide?
Well, there is an Association of Christian Thrift Stores and mm-hmm. a Christian Rescue Missions. That there is a soft part in regard to rescue missions mm-hmm. with what we do.
Gotcha.
But when I think it's important people check us out, like you checked us out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I took what I heard from everyone, and Misty made it really, really easy to donate. So I didn't feel like I needed to, but I do prepare for this show. So I thought I would actually.
I think that's important. Go to Charity Navigator.
Yeah, and your website, like I said, I'm on the Village Council, and I've been getting on the case about our website and just making it easier to see everything. And I wasn't kidding. I clicked on your mission, and I started having like, well, what if somebody comes in that's not of the same faith? What happens? And I was like scrolling, and right there, like literally, I just doing, and there it was. My answer to my question was right there, and it was. I think that's a very important question too. So it was right there. It was great. All the information that I needed, that was pressing, I could find right mm-hmm. a click away. So, anything you would like to add?
I was going to say kind of the same thing. I love to give tours, talk on the phone, whatever you need. Start with our website, check it out. But we love to have people come and look firsthand. I always say my job is to help people find their joy in giving. Mm-hmm. So there's so many different ways to get involved. So the first step is to just come check it out and see how you kind of fit into either give back, volunteer, whatever it is.
So how would we get into contact with you? If somebody was watching and they wanted to reach out.
You can call the center directly.
Okay.
It's 248-334-2187. You can call, my extension is 1121. Or certainly, like I said, look on our website. You can email us. Everyone's email is kind of the same, first, last name. So I'm Phillips at gracecentersofhope.org. We'd love to have people come in and take a look and see what we do.
And you're local. So you can also come and have a meeting at Bears Bath. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you want to chat. Yep. So I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, you guys. Misty and Pastor Clark.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you guys for listening, and we will see you about town.